The following is an exclusive presentation of Jesup Broadcasting, the sports leader in Southeast Georgia.
World famous. The world famous Butch and Bob Show.
And good morning, everyone. You're tuned in to the world famous Butch and Bob Show. Butch over here with you, along with Bob Morgan on this Friday morning. That's right, you've made it to the Friday version of the week, and today is the 8th day of February. And the world famous Butch and Bob Show brought to you by Mike Birch Ford in Blackshear, by the Wolf Animal Hospital on West Cherry Street. Also brought to you by the Women's Health Center in downtown Jesup at Murphy Builder Supply, Northeast Broad Street. Good morning, Bob.
Good morning.
How you doing?
Doing good.
Doing good?
Yeah, ready for the big games tonight. Should be fun to see if Wayne County can win 2 region championships in both boys and girls basketball. So, going to be dogfights, though. Statesboro, very talented girls and boys teams. So, should be 2 great games. You know, there's 4 games total, getting away at 3 o'clock because the other teams have to play for stage 3 and 4 in the state tournament. But Wayne County Statesboro teams will play for 1 and 2 in the region title. Doubleheader, 6:30, 8 o'clock. 6:30 girls game, 8 o'clock boys game. Should be a great crowd. There's good games Wednesday. Should be fun tonight. Both headed to state next week. Both should be hosting state tournament next week.
All done right here at Benny Ratliff Arena, right?
All at the Benny Ratliff Arena.
So people need to show up at what time for the girls' game?
6:30.
And then the boys' game right after it.
Yep.
Okay.
Doubleheader. Can't beat it.
All right. Going for the region championship, both the girls and boys.
Yep.
That's good stuff right there, Bob.
That is good stuff. I said,
Good
keep
stuff.
asking that question. When's the last time both the boys and girls won the championship in the same year, but haven't been able to get that answer yet. So someone said it may never have happened. So we'll wait. You know, I think it did happen back when Benny and Barbara coached. I'll have to get with Barbara. Maybe she knows the answer to that question. But
And the
it's
head
still
coaches.
historic.
And the head coaches are?
Kayla Hobbs does the girls, and Lamitris Ray does the boys.
Okay.
The boys team's a very talented team. Like I said, they got a chance to make a deep run in the state tournament. They got a lot of talent on that team, a lot of dunks. You like seeing dunks? Come watch Anthony Grant dunk.
They like to dunk.
Yeah, he does a good job.
Okay.
I think he had 7 on Wednesday.
Man. A tall kid or just got a big vertical leap?
Real tall kid.
Okay.
Plays above the rim. Excellent ball player. Excellent ball player. Should be fun.
I don't think I've ever seen the top of the rim, more or less.
We used to bring the trampoline. In
Oh,
the
you
gym
did
last
the trampoline?
Yeah, we used to. Put
You
it
did that?
Oh, yeah, because I want to dunk. You know, I can't dunk any other way. So we
You didn't hurt yourself, like get your wrist, hit your head on the side of the rim, you know?
had it perfectly, you know. Just,
You
you know.
perfectly had it worked out so you could dunk.
That's right.
At
Jump
the
on
10
it.
at the 10-foot level now, right?
Yeah, right, yeah.
And you did that when?
Back in high school.
High school. Okay, back in high school.
Stone Mine. That was
Back when you were young and dumb, right?
when the coach when the coach took his nap. That's what we did. So
Put that little trampoline out there and
right.
bounce up there. And let's see, who would you have felt like back then? Who was the big star back then? Kareem would have been. Who was the
Kareem
big?
didn't dunk. That's
Yeah,
how-
who was the big? He liked the hook. He liked the fade hook.
So I watched that. And Jerry Westland, he didn't dunk. He just shot.
Yeah,
So
and that was way before Russell. Russell was back in. So I don't know.
I just want to know how it felt to dunk.
Who would have been the
Basketball.
big dunkers back in? Let's see. That would have been 70. What year? You see, you're 5 years
77.
younger
I
than me.
graduated in 77 high school.
Okay, all right. So from some early to mid 70s. Who was the big dunker back then? If anybody knows, you can text us at 912-427-3711.
George Gervin used to dunk. He was the big dunker with the Philadelphia 76ers.
Okay.
You know, Chocolate Thunder. You know,
Chocolate Thunder.
Chocolate Thunder.
Man, that's a good name.
Yeah, so that was his nickname.
That's a
He
good
dunked.
name right there. I like that.
He's the first one that broke the glass when he dunked. You know,
Broke that glass?
So yeah, tore the. You know, just. You know.
Yeah, just shattered that thing.
Just shattered the glass. You know.
Yes, sir.
And
Taking 45 minutes to put another one.
He had that thing. He had that
backboard up.
saying, "Chocolate Thunder flying." Crazy stuff.
I remember back in high school. I mean, from 68 to 72, we used to talk basketball all the time. I mean, I know it's a pretty good big sport now, but usually the sport has to do more with the town these days, the city, than it does nationwide. But back then, I mean, we talked basketball left, right, forwards, and backwards during high school. It was a big sport that the guys talked about.
Back then, it was like the Lakers against the Celtics too. You had Chamberlain and Jerry West with the Lakers, Elgin Baylor, and the Celtics had Havlicek and all those guys.
Yeah,
So,
yeah.
JoJo White. So just that used to be the big rivalry. So they used to carry it every Saturday afternoon. That's what they had. They used to have the NBA doubleheader. So that's what you watch as a kid.
Yeah. Someone said that one of the big dunkers back then was Bob Morgan.
I wish. I said I wanted to.
Only with the trampoline.
That's right. We had to put the trampoline out there to get up there because I couldn't get up there.
Oh, no one. My vertical leap's like 3 inches,
They had these little trampolines.
Yeah, I know what they look like, little trampolines, yeah.
You'd run, you jump up on the trampoline.
Yeah. Dunk that thing, man. Feel like a man.
Felt good.
Feel like a man. Dunking that ball. Always an exciting play in basketball at any level is the dunk.
There's always a way,
Yeah. I never did that. I don't remember seeing a trampoline in our gym.
I wasn't going to dunk any other way. So
No.
that's the way to do it.
I'm just surprised you didn't hurt yourself some on that because you got to time that thing just perfect. Get that ball down in there. Don't get your wrist caught on there. Don't hit your head on the rim. Anything of that sort. But basketball season going strong right now, and the NBA just in cruise control as they get closer to the playoffs.
I don't know why they had to play. They must just hand the trophy to the Golden State Warriors right
Just go ahead and hand it to them.
It's like everybody knows they're going to win it. So no one's beating the Warriors. So.
They hadn't. I mean, they just got to tell. And the thing about it is they've kept it together. That's difficult these days in sports. Is keeping
they keep adding to it too. So they just got Cousins. So I mean they're loaded. So. Interesting discussion yesterday on this track. So I just wanted to discuss. It's just,
the track. We were talking about the Wayne County High School track. Where we're going to build it is going to be at JC Stadium. Is it going to be at the high school? What did they say, Bob, about it?
Well, it was a very interesting discussion. Craig Buckley was there with different drawings, different proposals.
He's the architect, right?
He's the architect, right? But apparently they haven't done the survey to tell exactly how it would fit into the stadium.
Right. Can we get 8 lanes in there? Yeah.
Can you get 8 lanes? Can you get room for the pole vault and all that? He said in order to have that information, he has to do a survey to come. He says he thinks it would fit, but
survey says
he says it'll be a tight fit. His suggestion was to just forget about putting the track at JC Stadium and just put JC Stadium as a football facility where you could just build new bleachers, bring the bleachers closer to the field, make it a better experience for the fans because fans like to be closer to the action anyway.
Right.
Take the track totally out of the stadium and just make it a football facility and build the track somewhere else. That was one of the proposals.
Okay.
The other proposal is to build the track across the street and eventually build a stadium and a track, everything, because when they first
when you say build across the street from the high school,
where the tennis courts
are. The tennis courts build it, where over there?
They have 72 acres of land. They have all that land.
And all that
land, they have, and the school superintendent says, if we're not going to use the 72 acres ever, that's prime real estate. They could sell that property and make money and then have money to do what they want to do. So they have to make that decision. What are they going to do? Because when they first built the high school, the original plan was across the street. They were going to build a brand new football stadium, a brand new baseball field, a brand new softball field. That was the original proposal. Well, all that got pushed to the side because of economics. We're not going to build money. We're not building the Taj Mahal. We're going to cut costs, and eventually build across the street one day. Well, that's 20-some years later. They haven't built anything. You
got the track there. You got a tennis course there, cross country
course, right? But you don't have what was originally planned to go over there.
Right.
So he says that you could build and plan for the future. Go ahead and build a track across the street and down the road. When you build it, when you pass another East Blast, you could add the stadium.
I don't think you're ever going to see the football stadium move from JC Stadium. They've invested so much there.
Well, and that was my point. I said, in our lifetime, we probably won't ever see a new football stadium. So if you're going to spend money, that was my original thought was to take that money, go into JC Stadium, take out the bleachers, expand the facility if you can, build the track, put the stadium, So they're looking for where they're going to get their bang for their buck.
Right.
They're nailed into that 1 point. 1.2 is what they have to deal with because that was what was approved in the
$1.2 million, right?
And they're basically telling you they don't have any more money to do anything else. So
that's it.
So either you're going to spend 1.2 at JC Stadium and try to fit the track in there, or you're going to build it at the high school where they originally said it's going to be right there in that practice facility, but they're worried about it being near the swamp. But they said
it is near the swamp.
They said they said that they've done that land survey. They think it could fit there. Or option 3 is to build it somewhere across the street near the tennis courts.
What does it take away a practice field? If you've got spring sports out there practicing, the people have to walk around that to go to a track?
Coach Cribb talked about that. He said that would be a issue. But anyway, they just need they don't have all the information they want. So
right.
Buckley says give him 30 days to come back and say whether or not. But just listen to him as his proposal and talking, just hearing the constant theme I kept hearing is he doesn't think the track will fit at the current JC Stadium, that he thinks it'll just be too much of a tight fit.
But how do you move the stands? I mean, they're
you just have to
down.
you just replace them. You just take them out.
You just replace.
Like you said, you eventually you got to replace those bleachers.
Well, yeah, I know, they're old.
They got to go.
Yeah.
Plus, you're going to have to eventually replace the press box on that home side because that's what I thought they were going to do. Is just take the home stands out, take everything out, and just replace everything and put it in there and make it fit.
Okay.
But like I said, those are your 3 options basically they talked about at the meeting yesterday to try to see it fit in the JC Stadium.
Well, what did he say about where the field events would go?
That's what he said. He has to figure that out. That's why he has to do the survey. That's the question, because they asked that question. Do you know where the pole vault's going? Do you know where the high jump's going?
All that field events.
Yeah, he says they haven't done that yet, so he has to do that. He said he wasn't asked to do that.
Oh, he wasn't asked. Okay, all right.
So he has to come back with that.
So let's say it's built over the high school. Either they're on the far practice field,
the current high school.
Yeah, the current high school, way over there on the far, or across the street, which means you got to do a lot of excavating. You got to cut trees down. You got to develop the land. You got to put a pad up. I mean, you got to do all that. Okay. So either one. What about you got to have some sort of stadium seats there. If you're going to host track events, you need to have facilities there for the fans. Where they got to be able to sit. They got to have bathrooms. You got to have concessions.
That's what I kept asking. He told me his statement last night was it doesn't matter which location you select, the cost is going to be basically the same. That's what he told the board last night. Doesn't matter if it goes to JC Stadium. Doesn't matter if it goes to the current location at the practice field or across the street. He said either 3. The cost is basically going to be the same. So if the
cost is the same, if you put it at the high school...
And he said the lights, he said forget about the lights because he said the current lights are only 30% capacity, so those lights got to be replaced eventually. So it doesn't matter. He said the lights is a wash. Don't worry about the lights because either way you go, the lights have to be replaced here. There's a lot that's got to be replaced at JC Stadium. I mean, that's the bottom line. The bleachers got to go. The lights got to be repaired.
They gotta go. They're just old.
Well, they just eventually they got to be replaced.
I mean, they're aluminum.
The architect last night said they got to go. He said he said they're not very good. So it was just an interesting conversation.
They're not wood anymore.
Like I said, the two new board members, you could tell they just want more information. They just got there. They're like, look, all this was discussed way before they got here. They just got on board, so. They're trying.
No reason to rush the decision. You want to get it right.
Well, as the main statement he said, Craig, because once you spend 10,000, 20,000 feet, you're talking about it's going to be there for the next century. So you definitely want to go where it's going to be the best location and work for the best. But his suggestion was, and I kind of agreed a little bit. Forget about the track being. Separate the track and the football field. Just make JC Stadium a football facility.
Which means you can get the stands closer. You don't have to worry about so much traffic on the track because it'll tear a track up.
Like you said, football fans like the experience. They want to be closer to the action anyway. You could bring the bleachers closer to the football field and just get the track totally out of there and then build the track somewhere else. That was That was he thought would be the best idea.
But if you can build it near the high school, either across the street or from the high school, or either at the practice field, and put stands there, and put a concession stand there, and bathrooms for the same $1.2 million, I know that a lot of folks would like to see that.
That's what kind of I was kind of shaking my head when he said, I don't see how it just. He says it's going to be basically the same cost. I don't see it that way. I mean, because like I said,
we'll find
I thought
out.
the reason they wanted the stadium is because they had the concession stands, they had the bleachers, they had the parking and all that.
Yeah, but if you're talking about having to tear down the bleachers and move them back, that's a lot of money, right?
I mean, if you move across the street at the high school, you're going to have to build some parking for the track facility. You're going to have to build.
Yeah. And would it affect the cross-country track? Or cross-country track there, trail, I guess you call it a trail. Would it go to the left of it? Does it go behind it? Does it the right? Where would the track go?
I still think it's a pipe dream to see a new stadium in Orlando in my lifetime.
I don't see a new stadium.
That was something. Well, they talked about waiting 5 years and putting on the next East Lost and build it just for the stadium. He said you build a new stadium for $6 million. What he said.
$6 million.
That's the ballpark figure.
All right. Maybe we can start a GoFundMe account. We'll put a jar out here in front of our counter up here, and people can put their change in when they come in to GoFundMe for the new $6 million stadium.
I remember years
but that's
ago.
now. I mean, 5 years from now, it'll be $8 million.
Remember years ago, and they had the thing at the Chamber of Commerce for the library. And then we got lucky; they had that big drug bust, and they got money for the librray. So
that's what we need. All right, we need another big drug bust.
That's right. They got those funds. They built the library. You remember that story?
I think that was the 80s or early. I think that was before I got here, Bob.
That was before you got here?
That was before. I think that was the 80s.
They used to have a little thermometer because they had to go. They were
that was the 80s.
They were trying to raise
money. It was built when I moved here in 92.
Yeah, they would fill in. They would paint it in when they got sent. And all of a sudden, they had this big drug bust. And the drug lord from Miami came and claimed it was his money, and they said, no, not your money, it's our money. And we built the library.
And we've already spent it.
We built the library.
He actually came here and said it was his money?
He came to the trial, yeah. Yeah, he came in there with, I'll never forget, it was a gold Jaguar with gold rims. And Judge Alamo was the judge. And
Alamo.
Was just a prosecutor.
He had the kahunas to get in front of Alamo?
I mean, it was something out of like the Godfather movie. They showed it was like a mansion. It had the circular driveway and had all these Mercedes and Cadillacs in the driveway. And this guy took the witness stand, and they asked him his name. I'll never forget, they asked him what his occupation was.
What did he say?
He said he was a game room operator.
A game room operator.
And they said, what do you mean by that? He said, pinballs, pool tables, things like that. And I forget, Judge Alamo looked down there and says, that must be one heck of a game room.
I can hear Alamo saying that now.
They had pictures inside the house on this table.
Why do they have pictures and everything?
Because they did the investigation. And the money was just stacked to the ceiling.
How did it end up here in Wayne County?
Because the person, his drug runner, was stopped in Wayne County. He jumped out of the vehicle, and in the vehicle was all the money.
The guy was riding along with that much money? Wow.
Yeah. I mean, and he just jumped out. Not my money.
I'm innocent. I didn't do it. Wasn't my fault.
Bill Mosley and Charles Brandon said it took almost 7 hours to count the money. Because it was like 5s, 10s, 20s, and these big duffel bags.
Wow.
They took it down there, and they had to have a big armored truck. And
how much was it again?
It was several $1 million.
Okay.
Yeah. I mean, it was a big arm. They had to have the big armored truck to, take the evidence down there. But
why did they?
The guy claimed and said it was his money, and they said, "No, not your money. It's going to be Wayne County's money." And Wayne County built the library. Never forget it. I'll never forget those pictures too. I mean, it looked like something out of a movie. I mean, it's a big mansion, circular driveway, every exclusive car you could see. But that Jaguar was nice. It was a nice Jaguar, gold rims, gold steering. Everything was gold. Everything was gold.
Someone just texted in, if the track goes across the street from the new high school, some of the timber could be harvested to help offset the cost. I don't know. I'm sure, a little bit.
All I know is School Superintendent Jay Brin said, look, they've got prime real estate that they own. They've
Yes,
owned it. They've owned it for years.
years.
And he says if we're not going to use that land for what it was intended to be used for, which was a brand new football stadium, a brand new baseball field, a brand new softball field, a track, all that.
Put everything of the high school.
He says it's time for them to think about selling that property and taking the proceeds from that sale, and then they would have money to do improvements and things that they'd like to do.
Well,
So-
if you moved all that over there, how much could you sell the land for right now?
I have
Where
no
the
idea.
softball field, the baseball field, the soccer field, the football field, what would that land be worth?
I have no idea.
There's a lot of if ands in there.
That's what I'm saying. There's a lot of decisions need to be made. I mean, like I said, it all comes down to finances.
Yeah. And before we go off this morning, I can't believe we're already at 8:30 just about. You know, yesterday we were talking about this Wayne County High School senior class of 1960 birthday calendar. All right, the person who put this together lives right down the radio station, and he says he doesn't know how to text, so he had to come in yesterday afternoon and tell us it was Wayne County High School. Okay, he showed me a picture, and he gave me a copy of the graduation exercises of Wayne County High School. It was changed to Wayne County High School. The first graduating class of Wayne County High School was 1959.
That thing's in great shape.
Yeah, well, I don't know how, he's got a lot of them, and apparently he just must have put them in a box or something, because that looks like it just got printed,
right.
just like got printed, you know.
It looks brand new.
I don't have anything from 1960 that looks that good. All right, but graduation exercises, Wayne County High School. I'm going to hold this up to the camera here. Okay, so graduation exercises, Wayne County High School, Jesup, Georgia, at JC Stadium, Friday evening, May 27th, 1960, at 8 o'clock. See, graduation exercises were at 8 o'clock up until the late 90s sometimes. It was always 8 o'clock. I graduated, it was 8 o'clock. Back then it was 8 o'clock. It's always been 8 o'clock until it got changed about 15 years ago to 7:30. And this is the graduating class, the class of 1959 to 1960. They were the second class to graduate from Wayne County High School, which was located where Wayne County High School was on Orange Street. They had already moved there. The first graduating class of the new school, which of course now is tore down, most of it, on Orange Street was 1959. And before then, the last graduating class of the old Jesup High School, of course, would have been 1958 at the Plum Street location where the Jesup Police Department is now. But this is the program right here. Got the processional invocation with Reverend Albert Hall, introduction of speaker by Ronald F. Adams. The speaker was the Honorable Judge H.E. Nichols, Court of Appeals, State of Georgia. Presentation of awards with Principal Charles E. Bacon, principal. The delivery of diplomas was done by Herschel Collins, the superintendent of schools back then. Then the alma mater, and then the recessional. And the ushers were Lawton Tootle, Sandy Descamp, David Wary, Noel Watson, Fred Fender, and Clifford Arnett. They were the ushers. The honor graduates. You ready, Bob? Gannett Backus, James Blackman, Beth Bramlett, Judy Collier, Betty Dean, Mike Hartley, Mary Jones, Joan Lawson, Janice Poindexter, Barbara Sue Powers, Mike Priester, Chandra Stanley, Jerry Strickland, Gene Wells, and Gladys Westbury. They were the honor graduates of the Wayne County High School class of 1960, and then they've got all the classmates listed there, which of course I will not mention. But he's got a lot of the. Apparently he's one of these type of people who knows that he wants to keep things for the future, and he got a lot of these programs and put them in a box, and that's the reason why he left this with me. It looks brand new. So I got a history lesson yesterday that, yes, it was Wayne County High School. Yes, it was located at the Arden Street location. That 1959 was the first graduating class of 59 was the first graduating class of Wayne County High School, not Jesup High School, and the high school had been moved there to the Arden Street location, 58-59. And so we appreciate him coming in and giving us this history lesson on Jesup High School, Wayne County High School, and the graduates from back then.
59, a great year. That's the year I was born.
And we're going to end at that. All right? All right, the world-famous Butch and Bob Show brought to you by Murphy Builder Supply, located on Northeast Broad Street in downtown Jesup. Also brought to you by the Wolf Animal Hospital on West Cherry Street. And let's see here. Let's see, we got somebody just text in. And let's see here. Also brought to you by I'm just trying to read something, too. Also brought to you by the Women's Health Center on Cherry Street at Broad Street in downtown Jesup, and by Mike Birch Fort in Blackshear. And, of course, the last class of the old high school on Orange Street was 2002. That's true, because my youngest son, Chad, was in that class. The last graduating class of the Orange Street Wayne County High School was 2002. And then, of course, they started with the new high school on One Jacket Drive, with the 2002-2003 year.
The world famous Butch and Bob